Very good evening to you. I'm Lisa Broom with the CBC Evening News. In our top story tonight, 14,000 new jobs are on the horizon for Barbados' key tourism sector. This promise from Tourism Minister Richard Seeley, who says a number of projects should be underway in the coming months with the goal of raising the standard of the local tourism industry. Kareem Smith reports.
Jobs will come in the construction sector with an extension of the Sandals Hotel called the Sandals Royal Barbados, the recently approved Hyatt Centric at Carlisle Bay, and the Wyndham at Sam Lords in St. Philip. He says these projects will simultaneously bring Barbados out of its current state of 10% unemployment to full employment by 2020. He says while the current expansion will initially create temporary jobs, long-term jobs will also be created in the process.
These are sustainable jobs. These are jobs that are part of what we call the trade-did sector because it's foreign exchange coming into tourism to create these jobs. These are not the typical quick fixes that we have known governments to use to try to deal with unemployment.
Meanwhile, the tourism minister says the construction of Sandals beaches is set to start in April next year. Mr. Seeley also says that Barbados is on course for a third year of growth in the tourism sector, with visitor spend up and average long-stay arrivals remaining constant. Commenting on assistance to the local hotel sector, he says government has granted $11.8 million in concessions. According to him, 40 of the hotels receiving those concessions have refurbished or plan to upgrade their properties. Mr. Seeley has also stressed the importance of attracting reputable hotel brands to the island.
We need brands that we can engage in a symbiosis with at the least, or brands that we can that we can gain from, and that is why it's so important that we have the right brands. And I think the strategy of yes, attracting the foreign brands, but encouraging our indigenous brands to also step up, because you have to have the full range of offering.
One major concern addressed by the minister relates to businesses refusing to open in the city on weekends and bank holidays. He says the businesses have the itinerary of visiting vessels through the Barbados Chamber of Commerce and Industry and should therefore not be closed when cruise ships come calling. Despite such concerns within the industry, he says the existing tourism model remains a benchmark for other local industries to follow. Kareem Smith, CBC News.
Well, there's strong defense of the record of the Democratic Labour Party in the face of mounting opposition criticism. It came during a joint meeting of the St. James Central, St. James South, St. Michael North and St. Michael Northeast branches.
From tourism to education. The Democratic Labour Party says Barbados has achieved a lot despite the numerous hurdles. Candidate for St. James North, Senator Harry Husbands, lists the upgrades at the Bridgetown Port, approval of the Hyatt, and rebuilding of Sam Lords Castle as just a few examples. Senator Husbands, who is also the Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Education, says that ministry has also sought to address the weakness of access to nursery education.
We are in the process now, in this difficult time, of building 6 new nursery schools. We have completed 2. One is going to be in this constituency, in Holders Hill. 1 and 2 are finished. We are now about to start 3 and 4, Government Hill and here in this constituency. But the significance of this is not just that we're building buildings and putting little children in it. It is recognized. Every day the research and education shows that if you're going to build a modern, sustainable educational system, you got to start at the nursery school.
MP for St. Michael West Central James Paul challenged economists who he says failed to say that the country did not prepare for anticipated difficulties. He says the DLP took over at a time when the world was changing.
That is a fact. Any economist who will sit down today and pretend that that is not true is being intellectually dishonest. Now we have to understand that. And therefore, if we understand that, we could therefore understand why Barbados faces the challenges and why this government faces the challenges that it faces today, where it cannot deliver in the same manner that the previous government did.
Candidate for St. Michael North, Francis De Pisa, encouraged members and supporters to rally behind Team DLP.
The only way for any other party to unseat the Democratic Labour Party as the government is to take away from the 16 seats that we already have. So when you hear persons, and particularly of the Labour Party, speaking as though it's a fait accompli, ask them, which seats are you going to take from the Democratic Labour Party, and which ones are you going to keep? Because you got to get 16.
And in the face of naysayers who predict collapse of the economy, the party is telling Barbadians that the government is focused on ensuring the economy stays afloat. Kishma Senjis, CBC News.
A government minister has poured cold water on opposition promises that it will not be charging tuition fees at the University of the West Indies. This has been promised by the Barbados Labour Party if it forms the next government. Minister of Industry Donville Innes is asking the BLP where the money will come from. The question was posed during that joint branch meeting.
What will we cut further to restore Barbados to that? What is wrong with asking our students, like my case for example, my nieces and nephews, to contribute something towards your education at university level? And I use the point all the time that what we've asked them to contribute in the grand scheme of things as you move forward in life, as you get the chance to earn a higher income because of the degree, and what you're being asked to contribute back towards society is not that significant.
Minister Innes also criticized the opponents of recently announced projects. He's telling them they're stopping Barbadians from securing employment.
I have constituents in St. James South who also need work. And I'm not going to join on no academic crusade with a bunch of wannabe politicians or those who sell by their gun in politics and deprive other individuals of getting work. So the short-term solutions lie in our getting more speedy turnaround in terms of applications for construction projects.
As it marks 9 years in office, the Democratic Labour Party says it has had many successes. And in a letter, General Secretary George Pilgrim has thanked all Barbadians for staying the course. Mr. Pilgrim notes that the Frendel Stewart-led government has delivered in education. He's identified the Lodge School, Blackman and Gollop Primary, Maria Holder Nursery Schools, new degree programs at Barbados Community College, and expansion of the Eardiston Teachers Training College as examples. Mr. Pilgrim says the DLP delivered the new St. John Polyclinic and has maintained the dollar parity as achievements in health and public finance respectively. The party's General Secretary says there are several other achievements as the party continues to try to secure a better Barbados for all. Barbados Labour Party candidate for St. Michael South Central, Marcia Cadell, says the current court proceedings involving the Minister of Finance and the Governor of the Central Bank paints a bad picture of the country. During a party rally at the George Lamming School, it was suggested that potential investors looking in could lose confidence in the country.
I don't care how many expos you get on the plane with your entourage and go to. I don't care how many tourism marketing jaunts you make. There is no investor anywhere who will look at what is happening in Barbados and want to bring his or her money here.
Meanwhile, St. Michael's Central candidate Arthur Holder told Barbados Labour Party supporters they will need their help and more to win the next general elections.
Speaking to BLP supporters alone will not get it done, cannot get it done. We can come here religiously every Saturday and Sunday and preach to you. You got to go out there and do the work for us. We need you now more than ever.
Lawyers will know on Thursday if Central Bank Governor Dr. Delal Worrell is to remain in his job as the island's top banker. That's because the Court of Appeal is meeting then to decide the next move in that legal tussle between Dr. Worrell and Finance Minister Chris Sinclair. This after his lawyer, Gregory Nichols, told High Court Judge Mr. Justice Randall Worrell he was appealing the lifting of the injunction last Friday. That prompted Justice Worrell to issue Dr. Worrell with a 6-day reprieve. Dr. Worrell's lawyer has indicated he's prepared to take the matter all the way to the Caribbean Court of Justice. Finance Minister Chris Sinclair is being represented in the matter by Solicitor General Jennifer Edwards and Deputy Solicitor General Queen's Counsel Donna Brathwaite. Dr. Worrell has held the post of Central Bank Governor since 2009. The circulation of voice notes on the messaging service WhatsApp and social media has prompted police to appeal to witnesses of Saturday's shooting in St. James to come forward. One man was killed and 2 others injured during that incident. The shooting took place near Lime Grove in Hull Town. 25-year-old Andrew Antonio King of Military Road, Bush Hall, St. Michael was killed as a result. He was shot early Saturday just after 3 after 2 armed men opened fire on him and 2 others. The injured are 32-year-old Prince Thomas of Mount Stanford, St. James, and 30-year-old Alden Pestina of Sunset Crest, which is also in St. James. Police Public Relations Officer, Acting Inspector Roland Cobbler, says some of the voice notes are of unidentified individuals, suggesting they saw what occurred. He's asking these people or anyone with information about the shooting incident to contact the Hull Town Police Station at 419-1700 or 419-1701. And you're being assured that all information will be strictly confidential. The 3 St. Philip men charged with 30 burglaries between them in the south of the island suffered different fates when they appeared before Chief Magistrate Christopher Birch today. 28-year-old Damian Allen McCarthy of Rock Hall was charged with 20 counts of burglary. McCarthy was sentenced to 4 years in prison for the 3 counts which were committed in the District C station area. Well, on March 20th, he and his 22-year-old accomplice and neighbor Stefan Anthony Tony will reappear in that court to answer to an additional 7 charges. Tony faces 9 charges and was remanded to prison when he appeared in court today. McCarthy's court appearances don't end there, though. He will appear in the District B court to answer 10 charges for burglaries in that station area on February 23rd. The teenager, Jeshanti Donne Allen, was granted bail to reappear in the District C court on June 19th on his 1 count. Well, there's good news for cheese lovers. We'll have that story and more ahead on the Evening News.
Don't let your data experience slow you down. Step up to Digicel, Barbados' fastest 4G network, more than twice as fast as the slow network. Get more with Digicel. Digicel, the fastest 4G network in Barbados. Dial *153 to sign up to Digicel today.
Need affordable motor insurance? Get up to 30% off plus additional discounts for new and used vehicles. Call 436-6200 or log on to beacon.co.tt. Where you need us, when you need us.
Productivity to me means that everyone is pulling their weight equally and to their fullest extent. And when you have a whole team of people working like that, productivity will happen automatically. If people enjoy what they're doing and their bosses make them feel that they enjoy what they're doing and their bosses listen to them and push them to their potential, as I have done as a boss, then you will have productivity. It will happen automatically.
Productivity benefits your company by producing higher profits, a greater market share, an increase in competitiveness, and sustainable investment in people and technology. 2017 is the year of productivity. Get up for a greater 50. Let's all do our part to be more productive citizens.
Well, as we told you before the break, there's good news for all cheese lovers across the island. A recent recall of Sargento cheeses does not affect Barbados. International media reports have indicated that Sargento Cheese Limited issued a recall for some of its products earlier this month amid fears of possible listeria contamination. The possible bacterial contamination specifically affects Longhorn Colby cheese. The company has not reported any illnesses. The Sargento brand of cheeses is distributed in Barbados by Hanschel Innes. Division Manager Christopher Donowa says they contacted Sargento on February 12th after learning of the recall via the internet. He tells CBC News that they've been assured by the company that those products in Barbados are not affected. Well, the Mazda brand is continuing to ride the wave of popularity among Barbadian buyers. Sales and Marketing Manager at McNerney Quality Inc., Margaret Hoyt, says sales have grown over the past year. Ms. Hoyt was speaking on the sidelines of the launch of the Mazda World Conference, where top executives from locations worldwide met to discuss strategies for the region. MQI will be launching the brand new Mazda CX-3 model soon, and Ms. Hoyt says their plan is to focus on customer care to elevate the brand to luxury level.
No matter how good the brand is, unless you have good after-sales service, good customer care, it's not going to go anywhere. For McInerney's, we've been doing a whole lot with our after-sales service. We've introduced new staffing, a new process, and the idea is to be able to make sure that we wow our customers with the type of service that we're offering.
Barbados and Japan are continuing to strengthen their relationship through education. Japan's ambassador, His Excellency Teruhiko Shinada, toured the Lodge School in St. John today. It was the ambassador's first school tour on island, and the initiative serves as a platform to expose young Barbadians to Japanese culture. Students treated the ambassador to a cultural exhibition of Barbados and the history of the Lodge School. The Home Economics Department also prepared both local and Japanese dishes. His Excellency Teruhiko Shinada was pleased with what he saw.
I want to express my thankfulness to the Lodge School for their hospitality. I was very delighted to be invited here, and I'm very impressed by the students and work of students and way of teaching of teachers of the Lodge. And on this occasion I want to express also my wish to develop the relations between the Japanese Embassy and the Lodge School.
Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Senator Harry Husbands, says the visit will familiarize students with the opportunities available in Japan.
There have been discussions between the Lodge and schools in Japan about setting up close relations, student exchanges and so on, language training and so on. And with the internet, with modern technology, these things become much easier than they previously were. So I think that many of the students here, I think, are very impressed, and they have expressed to me certainly that enthusiasm for the possibilities that exist in the future.
At least one secondary school is reaffirming its commitment to music development. It comes as calls are being made to give young Barbadian musicians more international exposure.
The Courage and Paris School was immersed in a medley of music as they hosted the London-based Haringey young musicians at the St. Peter Learning Institution for an event which showcased an array of talent. An out-of-school ensemble, the Haringey Young Musicians is a charitable organization in the London parish of Haringey which raises funds to support music tours and provides auditorium support at London's concerts. Principal of the Courage and Paris School, Vincent Ferguson, described the program as a rich experience for all the youth involved. In addition, he says that the institution continues to place heavy emphasis on the development of music, understanding that there are endless career possibilities for Barbadian musicians.
Some will pursue careers, some will continue to play as, amateurs, part-time, as a hobby, but it is not forced upon them. You can pursue it as a career at the BCC. You can go on to university. One young lady just told me she's going to Trinidad University come September to do music. And we haven't got a difficulty with that, but we want to give them such a feel and an appreciation for music. And when they leave here, they can do anything with it.
There were a number of performances by Cora Champari, as well as the Alexandra Beacons and Dow Jordan Secondary Steel Orchestra, headed by music teacher Ryan Blackman, who actually collaborated with the Haringey group. Head of Music and Performing Arts for the Haringey Council, Peter Desmond, says the group was also a hit at the just concluded Whole Town Festival. Mr. Desmond says he's dedicated most of his professional life to giving young children international exposure and believes it would be a priceless asset in the growth of Barbados' talented young people.
I believe passionately that can give them so much character and experience, and we say it's a common language. There's so much, and not taking no for an answer, actually finding the way to do it. So my challenge to you is you find the funds to get these guys on the plane, we'll do the rest. We'll look after them. They can come and stay with us, they can use our instruments, but we want them to come and perform with us in London.
As well as high-profile engagements around England and successful participation in national competitions, the advanced-level Haringey groups have travelled widely for cultural exchanges, including Finland, Jamaica, the United States, Argentina, China, and Peru. Interests in the local music industry are hoping for a similar program to be implemented locally to better showcase young Barbadian musical talent to the world. Kareem Smith, CBC News.
Blue skies and gusty winds, which rustled the foliage around the Coral Ridge Memorial Gardens this morning, created a scene fitting for one of his paintings, as local artist Fielding Babb was laid to rest.
Touching tributes to an iconic artist, John Fielding Carter, otherwise known as Fielding Babb. Many of the tributes spoke to the kind of individual he was and how he touched the lives of those he met. Minister of Culture Stephen Lashley recalls that Mr. Babb's was one of the first houses he visited in the Christchurch West Central area many years ago. He says even then, Mr. Babb stressed the importance of being a voice for the youth and was instrumental in his setting up a cultural and sports committee prior to him becoming parliamentary representative for the area.
I believe that Barbados will be poor for the loss of this great artist. His contribution has already been recognized in several ways. He had a dream of at least starting a particular project in the Silver Hill area where he wanted to transform the empty walls of the Silver Hill housing area into wonderful murals. And he had a plan to involve the young people, not only from the Silver Hill area, but all over Christchurch.
Tributes were also offered by the Barbados Arts Council and the Kiwanis Club, both organizations which Mr. Babb was a part of.
When the history of the Barbados Arts Council is written, the name Fielding Babb must be inscribed in bold, golden letters, reserved for those whose contributions were stellar and whose passion and devotion served to ensure the continuity of the Arts Council by regularly exhibiting his outstanding palette knife paintings in the Pelican Art Gallery, and also by helping to guide and nurture young, enthusiastic artists through the years.
K. Fielding always played an active role in the club. He was never a club officer or a chair on any committee. He would say, "Man, leave that to the young people." And he would be supportive of each board.
During her sermon, Minister Arlette Waterman spoke of her first encounter with Mr. Babb exactly 2 weeks before his passing at the very home where he later died.
She says he did what he loved and loved what he did. There was a large turnout by the Kiwanis Club and the artistic community. Fielding Bab leaves to mourn his wife Cynthia, children Heather, Nicholas, Joy, and John. Shane Jones, CBC News.